Hello, everyone. Welcome to February, Logic Apps Live February 2025. So we have the whole team of your friendly PMs here, with the exception of Harold, which is on holiday. And let's go and start talking about a lot of the things that we have for us today. So all yours, Fernando.
Thank you very much, Wagner. So for today, we have, of course, we're going to share the Aviator of the month for February, some community updates, and we will have Wagner telling us about how to export Logic App Standard to VS Code. Parth also will join explaining the new data mapper refresh, and Divya will finalize talking about AI agents for images with Logic Apps. So we have a very nice agenda for you. So let's get started with the Ace Aviator of the month. So for February, our Ace Aviator of the month is Matthias Lochberg. I got a chance to meet Matthias last year at Ignite. So congratulations, Matthias. He's the founder and CEO of DevOps Solutions. Some of his comments, please, you can also see the full interview that we did with him in this link in the newsletter. But some of his comments here, for example, he has always had a passion for sharing knowledge and helping others grow. Being part of the Aviators and the Microsoft community allows him to scale the impact, and he can now help hundreds or even thousands of people learn new skills, overcome technical challenges, and gain confidence. A key piece of advice he got from a mentor that stuck with him is be like a wasp, conquer new challenges and move on. Don't get stuck thinking, I created this so they can let me go. Instead, focus on constantly learning, sharing, and taking on new challenges so that people don't want to lose you. And the last one, if he had a magic wand, what he would like to see in Logic Apps. And basically, he would like to introduce direct access or debugging tools for built-in connectors. Sometimes it is hard to understand why a connector behaves a certain way or what settings you might have missed. Having better insights into what's happening under the hood will save a lot of troubleshooting time. So thank you, Matthias. Congratulations again. Please, everyone, send a lot of virtual applause to Matthias, and please read the whole newsletter created by Wagner in the following link. So congratulations again, Matthias. Some community updates that we have to share with you for this month. First, of course, we have our Integrate conference coming in London this year. This is the largest Microsoft integration tech conferences. As we have mentioned before, people from different services will be there. We will come from the Logic Apps team, people from API management, a product group from API management, service bus, messaging services, and other services will be there. And of course, a lot of experts in the industry around Europe, around integration will be there. So it's a great opportunity to learn about the updates and best practices of the industry. So please follow this link or scan the QR code to get some tickets. If you want to buy tickets, there's also a hybrid approach. And right now we have the super early bird discount still available if you want to get that discount. And as part of Microsoft, we also have a discount code that you can apply to get 15% off. So again, feel free to take a snapshot and hope to see you there in London. Other community updates, we have some events coming up. We have one event coming from the Microsoft Integration Group in Belgium. This is March 11th. Basically, the topic will be building generative AI solutions on top of your own data with low-code integration. We were going to have three speakers there. Toon, Florian, and Jose are going to be there. So if you're around Belgium, you have some time available, March 11th. Please also scan the QR code to get more information, and hope you can go and learn about integrating your custom data for Gen AI with Logic Apps. Another event that we have for you coming up is also March 12th, and this is going to be for the Brisbane Azure group. One very important topic inside Azure and security, managed identities, looking under the hood. This topic will be done by Alastair Wilkinson. And another topic will be building an AI RAG application with Logic Apps with Dan Toomey. Again, very interesting topics. If you want to get into this event, also please scan the QR code or follow up the X handle and the meetup link to get to for this exciting events for the upcoming month of March.
And before we go to the next topic, if you have a event and you wanted to share with us, like ping any of the friendly PMs, or even better, just when you share that, remember to put hashtag Logic Apps Aviators so we can find it.
Yeah. Thank you, Wagner. And with that, we'll give it to you, Wagner.
Cool. Thank you. So let's talk about the exporting Logic Apps standard to VS Code. We know there's like still, especially when you're doing proof of concepts, when you're trying to start something on Logic Apps, many people still uses the portal, right? I'm kind of biased. I always started from VS Code, but I know that like a lot of people still start that with the portal. And once you have something and then you working and you wanted to go the next step, like getting from there to bring to VS Code up to now was a bit of a challenge. So taking that in consideration to make sure that you'll be able to take advantage of everything that we do in VS Code, we created a new process for you to go through that. Can you go to the next slide, Fernando? So what we're doing with that is we're extending something that already existed in the portal, both for functions and because of that for Logic App Standard. There is the ability of download a package with all your application content from the portal. But we knew that the configuration in the portal and the configuration in VS Code can differ, and we wanted you to take advantage of the Logic Apps workspaces, where you're going to have like all the goodies like the AIC generation scripts, the unit testing that we just show on private preview last month, right? So all those items we wanted are only available with Logic Apps workspaces. So what we wanted you is to, when you downloaded those packages, be able to create that workspace straight away without having to do a lot of manual process. So this process creates a brand new Logic Apps workspace using that downloaded package. It updates most of the configurations from the portal to the local requirements. For example, changing the permissions from manage identity, the connection between Logic Apps and the connectors for Azure from manage identity to the local settings, but we don't change all the items, right? One of the items that we don't change today is if you have a built-in connector that is using manage identity to connect to the end resources, we're not replacing that with with the share key because you don't have access to that. But we provide you information on how to do this. If you wanted to know a little bit more about that and wanted to see the step-by-step documentation, you can go to aka.ms/la standard/cloud to local. But I think what we can do now is try to take a look at that live. So I'll share my screen now, Fernando, and then go through this live process. Before I do that, just let me open up here, make it full screen. Let's go a little bit of inception, and there we go. So what I have here is a project, right? So we have the Logic Apps Cloud to Demo Logic Apps Standard with one workflow called get message from queue. This is like a really simple workflow. Just let me let it open. Is basically based on the pick lock template that we have. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is start and download that package. For that, you just need to go to download app content. Click it on download. It's going to generate a package. I'm going to save that on my LA Aviators cloud to local zip. And now I have a package that I can use to start that process that we discussed. that is importing that and created from package. So if I go now to VS Code, in workspaces, like in the local workspaces under Logic App, you have a new option called Create New Logic Apps Workspace from Package, right? I can click on that, and then the first thing that's going to ask is where is that workspace package? I have that on LA Aviators, Cloud to Local Demo. Select the package. Now we go through the process of creating the workspace. Remember, select the folder that's going to store your app workspace is always the root where the workspace is going to be created. So in my case, it's going to be cdev, right? The workspace name is going to create a folder under cdev and the workspace file. So in this one is cloud to local LA live. And the Logic Apps name, the folder for the Logic Apps under that, I just go to call that Logic Apps. So now it's going through the process and it's going to load this package. Come on, Visual Studio. Let me close my Visual Studio, start that one again, because I have too many things open here. Oh no, there we go. So I'll open that in a current window. So just like to reload that. Okay, that's better. So as you say, so it created the Logic Apps Live workspace with the Logic Apps underneath that, my LA get message from queue, workflow.json, right? So the my connections JSON, the parameters, everything, and also the my README file. And that's important to see here on that README file that we pointing to some of the items that we don't load. So let me just make it nicer to see. The machine is super slow with too many things running. Let me close PowerPoint. There we go. So the main thing here is that when you're creating workspace from that, we're not going to be importing managed connections for the service providers, right? So if you have a parameter set managed service identity, right, like this one here, you needed to replace that and creating the connection string. Okay, so this is important for you to take in consideration if you're creating those service providers with managed identity. When you load it here, we needed to do some configuration changes because we don't support managed identity yet in locally on VS Code. So let's take a look at that workspace. I'm pretty sure that by now my designer should be loaded. There we go. We loaded the project as is. And one of the things that I can do from here now is start changing that workflow, right? So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I already have an update of that here. Let's see if that's going to work. So I updated that to the workflow JSON with some changes that I did before. Let's see if I got everything correctly here. Cool. So here is that workflow changed. I have an initialized variable, right, with the operation type. I got a pass JSON from object and with operation type and status, and do some conditions. I'll do one last change, because instead of using Cloud to Local demo, here I wanted to use Cloud to Local dev. So just wanted to make sure that I use the right name of the queue, so it doesn't impact the change between here and the other system. So if I did everything right, this should be able to run. The suspense. There we go. So let's go to the overview of that one. The page is fine. And I'll go to Service Bus. To that Cloud to Local dev. And add a new message. Again, I have a sample here. That's application JSON. Here is the message. Send. What we're expecting is that now that is executed, it's running, and hopefully by now it succeeded. Cool. So you're able to copy a file from local, design, update, everything is working fine. Ideally from here, you would be creating your deployment packages and doing the CI/CD, right? But just for the sake of time, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get to that logic app, and I'm going to deploy to logic app. So I'm going to update that Cloud to Local demo with the changes that we did. Okay. Although I didn't change any settings, it's usually a good practice to do that, and just don't override what is already there, unless you know that it's needed to override. And with that, we can go back to local to demo, just refresh, because it might take a little bit to update everything behind the scenes, and take a look at the workflows. So let's take a look at the designer. Need to do a refresh here. I had that problem before. so it update the all the files. Update. Still the loading because it's still restarting. Okay, it's taking a while to update. So let me pass it on to Part, and I come back to that part of the demo, so we don't delay the other people. So Fernando, back to you, and then I come back with that last step.
So now we're going to have Bart sharing with us a data mapper UX refresh. So Bart. We cannot hear
I'm
you,
having
Bart.
some issues.
There
Can
you go.
folks hear me fine?
Yes, we can hear
You
you
can.
now.
Uh, okay, all right. I think there is some issue with my Visual Studio Code going on. So I'll just get started at least with what we have for the announcement. So Data Mapper is in public preview. This is the new user experience, and you can obviously use these settings to go and make sure that you can toggle it to version 2 to try this out. We'll take a look at that. But first things first, please do try it out and provide us feedback. There is an ak.ms link that should be in the slides. I'll make sure to also post it in the comments there. So a couple of things that we wanted to just highlight that we really spent time on while hearing feedback, which was around reliability and correctness of the map. So now, like, there will be just a lot smoother experience in terms of no map crashes, or just making sure that your schemas that are complex, have nested elements, as well as like repeating nodes, are able to be handled with any sort of functions you want to use. I think I have a screenshot here which just suggests like some of the workload that we were trying to handle on Data Mapper based on customer schema there. Then error handling. So we have also like new just capability to just test and catch errors through a new panel. And we also have looping, through which you can like indicate any repeating elements, drag and drop enhancements. So we can take a look at that. And most importantly, deserialization and namespace issues, which we came to understand that the LML was not properly loading in the map. And also making sure that, if there are any different namespaces in the schema, that is honored as well. So we have that as one of the fixes as well. So looking at some of the new fixes, just to easily glance over them. No more like floating source and destination schemas. You can just simply be able to search and map your elements if you want. It is pretty accurate, and you should have, just these sort of nested hierarchies which should be able to guide you in the user experience. Function panel is fairly intuitive. All the previously used functions are already there. We want you to try out some collection functions, which are really for repeating nodes. These are functions that are not there in BizTalk typically. And this is a newer experience, so we would love to hear your feedback around if they're useful to you and how you are performing any conditional mapping, right, on repeating nodes, and whether the data mapper is able to handle that. Uh, Automatic looping. So currently, if you map a repeating node, a child repeating node on source to a destination, an auto mapping is added for the loop, and you can see that if it is a repeating element, it should be denoted by A1 and A2, which you will also take a closer look soon. The issues, so you should be able to have, if there's any compilation errors, or if you've missed any like inputs for any of the functions, you should be able to catch that. Warnings are really important for, let's say if you have any really required nodes that you want to map and you cannot, so warnings will show that as well. Testing your map. So right now, this is a very lo-fi experience in order to just like copy and paste your payload and be able to visualize the result. We are going to provide capability to pop this out and even download the result as you wish. And just to take a look at how you're going to set up the new experience, make sure you go to the extension settings and have the version toggled to 2 here. So you should be able to just find it on the settings there, and make sure that you have light theme on. Dark theme is going to be supported soon in a refresh coming in a few weeks, and you just have to go ahead and create a new data map like you did before through the Azure tab, traditionally in the previous version as well. So and also be able to upload the schemas, right? So you can obviously drag and drop your existing schemas to the artifacts folder, which is something we have, and or else just be able to browse and add that. There are a few limitations. So most importantly, I wanted to highlight custom functions, which is something that should be available in just a week or two, and along with some more improved usability enhancements. We were having some issues where the tooltips were just not helpful, and functions were just adding like some other kind of backslashes or something on logical comparison functions. So that should also be fixed very soon. And yeah, so I think test panel experience, as I was mentioning, you should be able to even generate from source schema. Would love to hear if this is important to you. Like if your organization like provides you the schemas, or you have to generate it yourself. This is a feature we wanted some feedback on. So definitely let us know like what that looks like for you. And once it is done, you can also visualize the result right through like the result file there. Panel resizing. So this is something that you can be able to visualize nested schema as well. So that is something that should be coming soon as well. So just to log issues, I think a couple of things. There is the GitHub, right, for logic apps. So you can use that with the data mapper tag if you have any particular issues. And also another thing to note is that we do have a feedback form, and we would love to get in touch with you. This is a crucial time for us to gather feedback before we GA. So please let us know if we can, set up some time with you, and you have some use cases that we really can make sure that they're working on the new data map here. So I think that's about it. I did have another slide, Fernando. If we wanted to toggle to that, it'd be great to take a look. Yep. So I think the bug fixes, there were a few that I have mentioned in the blog as well, but there are also some that we have been encountering on GitHub. So if you have been posting that, we are prioritizing those already, and we'll make sure that these are rolled out iteratively, basically every couple of weeks. We are planning to GA this new experience in late spring. So we are collecting data and feedback just for this reason right now. And we are having a core focus on correctness and reliability for maps. So if you have complex customer schemas and you want to be able to make sure that the repeating nodes are being able to be mapped with just ease with if you have even conditional logic or mathematical logic you have to apply, we want to make sure that is focused on upcoming design areas. So we've heard smart mapping. So if you have, like, let's say, same root nodes and different same child node names, you, like, data mapper could automatically map it for you. So that is something that we have heard and want to bring soon, followed by also groupings and sections. So being able to visually group the nodes into a view and be able to focus on that mapping. So that's something as well that will be coming fairly soon, I would say, after GA. So that's the design brainstorming that we've been doing. If there is any other area of focus that you want us to really prioritize, do let us know there. That's about it. Fernando, you can go for it.
Moving forward, we have Divya, who is going to talk to us about AI agents for images with Logic Apps. So, all yours, Divya.
Thank you, Fernando. Uh, will you share the screen for a minute?
Yes,
Okay.
it's sharing your screen now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So today I want to talk about how you can build AI agents with Logic Apps that can handle image processing. And we had released the support for vision model in our OpenAI connector a while back, but more recently we've also released more operations with document intelligence connector. So document intelligence is an AI service offered by Microsoft that can be used to uh, handle more complex documents that contain images, tables, and other data. You can even handle the PowerPoint, Excel with like multiple tabs and so on. So it's a very powerful service, and now we have the connector for that in Logic Apps, using which you can essentially take any document and convert it into Markdown. And Markdown can represent these complex structures very well. So with that, you can then ask very targeted questions and get responses on your unstructured data like documents. So before I'll have a couple of demos today, but before I jump into the demos, uh, I actually want to share with you something that we've done to basically consolidate all the AI work we are doing. It, we have been doing a lot of we have been releasing a lot of new features, and along with that, we release blog posts. We are also trying to add a lot of demos around these new capabilities. And so now we have added this landing zone for all the AI capabilities. So you can just go to this link and find everything in one place. And our goal is to keep this up to date so that as we release new things, as we add more demos, we'll keep this page, we'll try our best to keep this page up to date. So with that, let me jump into the demos. So the first demo I have is where I want to use Azure OpenAI connector. And here I'm using a vision model. So let's go and look at the deployment model here. I have parameterized it. So which is the right parameter here? Yeah. So I have here an OpenAI model that supports vision. And so with that, all I'm doing here is providing a system prompt to answer the questions based on the image that is provided to the LLM. And we are also passing in the image to the LLM. The image comes in through the HTTP trigger action before that. And in terms of questions, we will be sending that in our request and also the file path for that. So let's take a look at the images that I want to use for this demo. So here, let me just open that first. So in this scenario, I am going to send this workflow images of some plants, and we'll ask some questions around it in terms of the health of the plant and other things. And I think while I'm using this example, you can essentially use any image and then ask relevant questions on it. The demo I'm showing, I can see, very clear. I can see the use of that in agriculture industry, right? Where you probably want to monitor the health of your crops actively on an ongoing basis. And I would imagine that in many cases, this is a very manual process where somebody is going around or like taking pictures and then figuring out if everything is in healthy state. So while this is a very basic demo, but you can see like how you can take how you can use the power of AI to streamline a lot of these manual activities and build agents on top of that. So let's look at the sample images that I'll use here. So I'll go to my demo here, and yeah, so here is my first example, and here I'm sending to this LLM the image of this tulip. And I already ran this, so that's why it was populated. But let's see what response we'll get. And while this is loading the response, the questions I'm asking are to describe this image. Are these plants safe for pets? What is the best time to grow these plants in the northwest region of USA? And is this plant healthy? So as you can see the response from the LLM, it describes what the image is very clearly with lots of details. It also identifies what that plant type is. We asked whether it is safe for pets. It generates the response for that based on the fact that it is tulip. Specifically, for northwest region of USA, it also gives the best time to plant them, which is actually fall, and then enjoy them in the spring. And I think finally, and where I feel it's so important is it knows whether the based on the image it can infer whether the plant is healthy or not. And it also gives you the reason why it's making that determination. So let's try this now with a second example. And I will run this first and then show you the image I'm using here. So in this case, I'm using the image of a mint plant, which shows that it's not super healthy, right? And so let's wait for the response here. So in this case, again, it is at length describing what the plant is. And then in the second step, in the second question, we are asking if it is safe for pets. And so it does identify that it is a type of a mint plant, which is non-toxic for the animals. It answers what's the best time to grow this plant, and then is the plant healthy. So if in this case it does infer that the plant is unhealthy because there is browning of the leaves and so on. So I think this is just an example on how you can apply this and build agents, not just like in several industries and domains, right? There are a lot of processes or automations where companies want to know the status of their machines or status of something else using the images of those things. Or if you get we also have a demo where we do a product return analysis, and there also we use image to identify whether the product is in good state or is in damaged state, or if it's a product that is sold by that company. So there are like tons of applications that you can do with the power of LLMs to analyze your image, which would otherwise be primarily a human activity. All right, so with that, I want to move on to a second demo here. So as you can see here, in order to do this analysis, we are using Azure OpenAI, and the model that we needs to support vision. So in some cases, this can get expensive, and so an alternate approach to do similar work is with document intelligence connector. And document intelligence is you can use document intelligence, and you would still need an LLM to do reasoning on top of the markdown or the text that document intelligence connector will generate. But you can get by with having a model which has to support vision. The other thing where document intelligence is highly suitable is in processing of different types of business documents, and that's because they already provide. Let me zoom this a bit. They provide a lot of out-of-box models that are tailored or very suitable to process those kind of documents. And here I'm showing you a list of all those categories, right? Which these span to like documents that are handled in like payment or bank industry. There are general documents, healthcare documents, uh, tax documents, receipts, invoices, and so on. So highly encourage folks to look at these things and give it a try. uh, I'm also going to, here is another, a GitHub repo that document intelligence team has, where they've actually published quite a few examples of of these documents. So as you're getting started, you can even use, this repository and just look at these documents and use that to play around or to try these things out. So this is like receipt. The before one, the earlier one was a contract. So a lot of great examples here to try out this thing. So in my case, I'm actually using this invoice here, a shipment document here, and it's a booking confirmation with lot of details. So if you look at this document, it has lot of things going on here, right? You have tables here, you have images here, you have controls here like check boxes, as well as a lot of dates and different types of data type that are being here, email and everything. With document intelligence and with the support for markdown, you can extract this information quite seamlessly. So here is what that workflow looks like. I have a request trigger, and then this is the new action that we have added to analyze the documents, and this is specifically a V4 action. In here, you do need to provide what kind of model you want to use. So let me just remove it. So you can provide different kind of pre-built models, right? If you were processing a business card, you could use that. If you were using health insurance cards, you could use that. So you can tailor this service for that kind of documents you want to process, or just use a general pre-built layout. Then I'm pulling in the document from GitHub for this example, the document that I was just showing you. I'm still using get chat completions here, or like OpenAI. And to OpenAI, I'm providing a system prompt, which is to just answer the questions based on the markdown. And the questions are also provided in here only inline, where, let me just pull that document for a second. So here on this document, I'm asking the question like confirmation ID and booking date. So it needs to extract that estimated departure time for the delivery service. So here there is a delivery service tone late spoken. Specifically, we are asking for the estimated time of departure. And if you note that there is an acronym used here, ETD. It's not even like mentioned in full form. We're also asking for the name and email on the booking. And then finally, I'm checking what is the status of these two check boxes by asking what is the status of option A and B. and providing the content here. So when I run this again through here, so here is that run. So I'm not again invoking it, but basically the document that I was just showing you, when I invoke that workflow, this is the response that I got from that workflow. So it pulled all the details around the confirmation ID as well as the date on that. It also it also provided the estimated departure time, so it was able to infer that from the ETD column correctly, the name and email on the booking, and finally, like we asked for the status for option A and B, the checkboxes, and it said that they are unselected. So uh, whatever type of things we had in this document, they were all processed and handled and converted to Markdown effectively by the document intelligence. And then with all that information at hand, using OpenAI, we can query on that data. So again, like extremely powerful to process business documents. In combination with, of course, Azure OpenAI or LLM to reason on top of that data. So I would highly encourage folks to try this out. And one last thing that I want to show before I hand over is, let me just save it, yeah, is that as you're getting started, both of these examples that I just showed you, they are available as templates in Logic Apps. So you can use this. For example, this one is document intelligence. Let me zoom this more. This is, where did it go? Okay, I lost it. All right, so this is the one, document intelligence, interact and analyze complex documents using AI. So you can start from a template. This is all, this has been pre-built. This is a pre-built workflow, right? It also shows you all the prerequisites that you need. For example, you do need a document intelligence service to use this. And the source code is, this is the location of the source code. So here we have also provided the sample image that I used in this example. And you can do the, again, you can do the same thing for, let me just go to the other example. Yeah, so this is the second example that I showed you where you can interact with Azure OpenAI and use it to analyze the images. Once again, in the summary, you will find all the details, any prerequisites, as well as here in the source code location, you can also get access to all the test files we used. So this can easily, using this, you can easily get started with this example, and then of course make more updates and changes with your business data and business needs. Yeah, that's all I had to share today. Back to you, Wagner.
Thank you. Thanks, Divya. That looks awesome. Mike was looking here, and he made a comment that since Doc Intelligence is a managed connector, some of the customers that are need to use that as behind a private endpoint might need to use HTTP to access that, but still, like the same principles apply, right? So you have the choice. You can use the connector, you can use the endpoint, but the same principles apply, and they say that it worked great.
Yeah, so of course you can use API, but we are also building the in-app connector or built-in connector. So that should be out very, very soon. uh, it's in deployment, so I think you don't have to do that for too long. We will have that connect.
That's probably something that he really wanted to hear.
Yeah, great
Cool.
question.
And just before let me add Fernando and the rest of the crew to the stage anyway. But just before we open up for Q&A, just for completeness, I find out that the problem with my demo was simply an F5. Right, it was it was the browser caching the previous image than anything else. So just to complete that demo, see that it moved everything that we needed to put it here, and potentially the parameters for the queue now is cloud to local dev instead of cloud to local demo that we had before. So we'll be able to do like that round trip that we discussed with all the you can get something from the portal, download from Visual Studio Code, run, update, bring it back, full cycle. So that hopefully that is going to be something that is quite useful for everyone. And looking forward at how you guys are going to be using that.
Yeah, cool. Divya, do you want to share anything about the AI playbook?
I
Or mention it? Yeah, we have the link here.
Yeah, I think I did that already, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so we have this Logic Apps AI playbook. And if anyone has any questions, that is the time. Just drop it here on the chat. Doesn't seem like there is any other questions. I think part there is people talking about smart mapping, like Sebastian's talking about smart mapping. That would be the quite important for him, and here is a really good use case. Dataverse would be exactly the same, right? So imagine moving Dataverse to SAP, for example, 200 on one side and 200 on the other one. That smart mapping can be quite useful.
Yeah, no, Wagner, I think we've definitely heard this feedback, and that's why we want to at least have some design around the experience. And we'll definitely reach out, if we have something that we can start getting some feedback on after GA.
Awesome. Anything else? Otherwise, I think we're pretty much on time. Yeah. So if you see any other questions after we finish the live, we try to comment to reply that on the YouTube comments. But remember, like every fourth Thursday of the month, 11 a.m. PST time, we're going to be here. So make sure that you share that with everyone and join us. And I think that's it for today.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
See you all later.
Bye-bye.